Welcome back. So the trade war is on, and we reached out to you, our audience, to see what concerns you the most.
Yes, and here to answer your questions is financial commentator Pattie Lovett-Reid. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
Your timing couldn't be better.
Hype you up.
This is exciting. It's riveting. No, actually, it's pretty serious.
Yeah,
It is. And you know what? I want to start with the basics because I don't want to leave anyone out. So start with what's a tariff and who pays for it?
A tariff is really a tax on a good or service that crosses the border.
Okay.
Typically, the country that imports pays the tax, and it can be crippling. It can be crippling for businesses, for individuals, and it escalates costs, prices, and sadly can lead to job losses. And what I can tell you is that there are rarely any winners in a trade war. There just aren't.
Which just raises so many questions about why we're doing this in the first place. But so if Americans are the ones
I'll answer that question.
No, okay.
I will.
Well, it just feels like this is not going to help Americans. No, it's going to hurt them.
It doesn't. I know that there is a real push to make America great again. But the fact is, it will hurt Americans. I can tell you that according to the Canadian Chamber of Commerce, this tariff war, trade war, but the tariffs associated with it, will shave off the U.S. 1.6% of GDP. That translates into $1,300 per person more each year.
Oh, wow.
And so, yes, it's going to hurt them. And it's going to hurt Canada as well. I'll throw it out there. In terms of our GDP, 2.6% shaved off, and that translates into $1,900 per person.
Wow. Okay.
It's a big number,
Yeah.
and so it's a serious matter.
Okay, so let's talk about how it's going to impact our economy and our prices of things. 'Cause I think that's what everybody's concerned about.
Well, that's a great point. So we talked about the economy and the economy potentially shrinking, but in terms of prices start to go higher. And what happens is people will look for alternatives that are cheaper. So what that may mean for goods coming from the U.S. into Canada, because we've applied tariffs on $30 billion worth of goods. In 21 days, another $125 billion worth of goods. And so you find that they're more expensive. And so therefore you don't buy them. And what happens is, regardless of which country, people lose jobs, and we could lose hundreds of thousands of jobs. One number I saw, if this trade war goes on for a year and the tariffs are in place at 25% for a year, we could see 1 million jobs lost in Canada.
Oh, geez.
Plant closures. And I'm not trying to use a scare tactic.
Yeah.
I
Just need to
just
know the
want
numbers.
people to know that this is serious.
So that could spark a recession, right?
Right. So initially, when I started thinking about this and I was writing about it, a 10% tariff, if we do get to that, would be a drag on our economy. A 25% tariff would be a recession. And then it begs the question, what do we do? How do we respond? Well, economists on Bay Street just yesterday said, you know, we could start to the Bank of Canada cut rates aggressively for the balance of the year. 4 more times, we're at 3.25%. We could go down 25, 25, 25, 25, that's a full percentage point. That would take us to 2.25, maybe even more, 2%. We could see government stimulus to small business that are challenged, and for households and for individuals that lose their job. So there is going to be some response. We don't know what the response is. But
So like COVID-era measures, essentially,
you know what? I think that's a really great point, because I was thinking about it. COVID, we were slammed. And our real estate market really propped up our economy. A lot of that because of the Bank of Canada. So to your point, it's a similar effect. Some are saying this could actually be worse on households than what COVID was.
Okay, so let's get to how this will impact individual Canadians on a day-to-day basis. What products will be affected immediately?
Well, I think immediately what you'll see are perishable goods. Anything that doesn't have a long lifespan, they will be impacted. We'll start to see prices go up very quickly. We've heard about the auto sector. I mean, parts go across the border 2 or 3, 4 times.
Right.
And so we could see the units going down, less people buying, prices going higher. If you don't need a car, you're not going to buy a car right now. So what that leads to is plant closures. And when you have plant closures, people will lose jobs, and then they don't have the discretionary money to spend. And it's this spiral effect.
Can we talk about the markets? Because like global markets were down. Like, talk to me about that and help me understand that.
Well, you know, when you look at the markets, yes, they were down. Because right around the globe, nobody wants tariffs. And they don't understand the tariffs. And just as a quick aside, why are the tariffs coming? There are sort of 2 camps out there right now. The president would like to see Canada annexed as a 51st state. Or does he really want to renegotiate the trade agreement?
Right.
My gut is telling me that's where we're going because, to your point with the markets, the Dow wiped out 1,300 points over 2 days. The Trump bump, and he watches the markets very closely. When he was elected, the gains on the S&P 500 wiped out. But if you sort of think about it, he doesn't like this. And so what he's more or less telegraphing through his Commerce Secretary, you know, we could negotiate. We could compromise here. We could hear as soon as today. So the markets were off yesterday. Just before I came into the chair, the markets are up today in anticipation that something will happen.
Will buying Canadian make a difference?
No, but it does to patriotic pride. Yeah, I do think it makes a difference. And I do think breaking down provincial trade barriers makes a huge difference. You know, how can we expect to trade with anyone else when we can't trade across provinces in Canada? So I do think it will help manufacturers and farmers, buy Canadians, source out a better price. Look, households have known this is coming. Canadians, we're not naive. We're angry, but we're not naive. And we have budgets in place. We have discretionary spending that's been cut back. We will buy frozen in the grocery store as opposed to fresh right now. Nutritionally, we'll get through it. So, yes, we are doing things. It will make a difference. My fear is it's not going to be enough.
Is there anything else we could do? We only have a few seconds left. Anything else we can do to mitigate the impact?
Well, we all do our part. I will end on that. Let's put Canada in perspective. We have great infrastructure. We really do. Could we do better? Yes. Education, retirement, our healthcare system. But we have a lot of red tape. We have not invested. We don't support innovation and technology. And this is a big wake-up call. So in answer to your question, and I think it's a really good one, that's what we've got to be doing. We can't do it overnight, but this may be a big wake-up call
even
for
us.
Even
for interprovincial trade, for example, even just that. You know, that's huge.
Good things may come. Glass is half full, people. That's what we're trying to say. Pattie, thank you so much for these. Hey, you, come a bit closer. We've got so many more must-see interviews, spicy debates, lifestyle tips, and pop culture moments. So subscribe to our channel by tapping the logo below and don't miss out.